This podcast episode is a continuation of last week's episode where we talked about the three things that you have to be able to have to look at your numbers in a way that you can make decisions, right? And just as a reminder, that was tracking, looking at what has happened in the past, budgeting, setting yourself up for the future. What do you want to spend in a certain category? Where do you want to cut that off? And analyzing is looking at both of those things together to make decisions about the future, about hiring a coach, about hiring someone to help you in your home, going on vacation. Do you need a personal loan? Do you need a credit card? All of those decisions cannot be made with confidence and clarity unless you have all three things: the tracking, the budgeting, and the analyzing. So, we're going to give you a couple of examples today. This is going to be a short and sweet episode because we want you to be able to go back and really think about the decisions that you want to be able to make, but haven't been able to pull the trigger or been able to say yes or no because you don't have all the information that you need. So I think Marley's going to give her example first. And then we have another one that a client brought to us a couple weeks ago that's actually a very, very common decision that comes up with our clients specifically that cannot be made without all of that information.
Yeah. So on the personal side, we're looking at a holiday. We were asked to go on a holiday over Christmas break, and it's sort of last minute because we're in the fall here. And we already have plans made for spring break with our kids. So, we've already sort of budgeted all of our holidays for the year. And we have another potential holiday with family coming up in the early summer. So we're like, okay, we've already made a plan. We've already tracked our numbers. We've already budgeted for all of these things. And now we're being asked to do something new. And, we're going, okay, well, can we afford to take this extra holiday? When we look, we have our numbers tracked. So we can go and look right at the numbers and go, okay, here's the data that's in front of us. We just get to pull up our spreadsheet and go, all right, we've already got all the information we need. Now we get to look at the budget and then we get to analyze that decision. So one of the steps is already done because I do my money dates consistently, because I have my information and I know my numbers. The budget side of it, well, we've already budgeted all of our money. So every dollar that we make is already got a plan. I already know where it's going, whether it's to pay a bill, whether it's to go to savings, whether it, whatever that plan is, the budget's already made. So now when I'm looking at the analysis side of things, I have to go, okay, how could I reallocate our budget? How could I reallocate funds to make this work? Mm-hmm. And then we get to start analyzing, all right, could we save a little less for something else and put it now towards this? Could we ask to not do Christmas gifts with the family that wants to do a trip this year? And instead of doing gifts, the trip is the gift. Mm-hmm. The trip will be a lot more money. So there's still that side of things that we have to look at. And where could we pull these funds from? So there's a lot of data analysis and budgeting analysis that we have to do. And then what you and I were just talking about before we started recording, Becca, is the emotional side of it. Like, do we even want to take this extra holiday? Do we even want to reallocate funds? Because we had a plan. Like, we're on a mission in our household. Like, we have a lot of goals that we're working towards financially. And we just are really got a lot of moving parts going on in our lives right now, running multiple businesses and working towards a lot of goals. So is this even something that we want to humor?
Right.
And I think that there's the two sides to the analysis. There's like the data analysis side, but then there's also got to be that emotional analysis side. And it can be hard, especially when it's something with family, to have that conversation around, like, do we even want to do this right now? And then how do we have that conversation? So those are the things that have been the conversations that have been happening in my household lately. And I honestly, we don't have an answer yet. We're still working it out.
Well, this is what we talk about when we tell women to keep their emotions in the decisions, but their emotions cannot drive the decision, because you and your husband and your boys want to go on this vacation. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a want, right?
Oh, do they ever?
But if you had just said yes right away, the stress and the anxiety that you would be feeling looking at the numbers after saying yes, not knowing if it was a possibility, is exponentially greater than if you look at the numbers first. Pause for a second. Just pause, look at the numbers, and then say yes or no. So your emotions get tied. We ask you to tie your emotions to your goals. Why do you want the thing that you want? Why do you want this financial milestone? Why do you want this savings? Because that's where your emotions need to be anchored. Your decisions cannot drive, no, excuse me, your emotions cannot drive your decisions, because that's how we do overspending. That's where we get into buyer's remorse. That's where we get into, oh, I'm just bad with money and that's how I'm always going to be. That is not true. It's because you are sitting in a state of mind where your emotions dictate what you do or don't do with money. And so I find it's really interesting when, from an outsider, like I'm actually in the middle of this decision making because we're looking at your numbers together.
You're my business partner and you're my life partner.
Hi, Andrew. But from an outsider's point of view, realistically, this is kind of fun to watch because you didn't say yes. And I think even a year ago, you would have been like, yeah,
We'll make it happen.
Work. We'll make it work.
I was just going to say that.
Yep. So
we would have, there's a lot of, okay. So for the parents out there, especially if you've got, so in our household, we've got an 18-year-old and we've got teenagers in the middle and we've got a toddler. So we've got 4 boys, and it can be really easy to go, okay, well, this is potentially the last year that we'll all be home. This is like, there's always a reason to justify the spend. And so it can be really easy to just go, you know what, we can reallocate some of the money and we'll just figure out that extra bit later. We have credit cards for that. Like it can be really easy to go, well, we can throw it on the home line of credit. Like there's so many ways to make it happen. But, and sometimes, like, I want to give people permission to sometimes, that my mom always said that to me. Sometimes you just have to throw away the budget and live your life. And sometimes it's okay to just do the extra thing because you only live once. But you can't do that for every decision. You can't justify those big spends and figure it out later, because that's how you get into the pattern of getting into debt. And so we have definitely gone down that rabbit hole a few times where we've justified like too far.
Yeah.
Out of habit, I would say.
I think everybody has. I know for sure that we have. But what we don't want for you and your family, or you listening, your family, is for you to be on vacation going, oh my God, when I get home, like, imagine what I have to pay off this credit card. Am I going to be able to make the payment? Oh, we should not have spent so much money at dinner last night. Did we really need that excursion? Can we afford this vacation that we're on right now? That's what we do not want that for you. And that's what Marley doesn't want for her family. And that's why we're taking our time making this decision.
And I don't want to be on vacation and being grumpy with my kids when they ask to buy something, because under the surface, I'm like thinking about the budget and they're just trying to live their lives and have fun.
$8 more. That's $8 more I have to pay off what I get back.
So that's the personal side, that, of how to make these decisions through looking at your tracking, then looking at the budget, and then looking at your analysis, both from the data and from the personal emotional side of things. Our clients, we're hearing this like across the board. We've had every client has come to us at some point. Can I afford this thing? Whether that, and what we're hearing a lot is like our clients that have studios, or they have like a brick and mortar shop. Can I afford to move? Can I afford a bigger shop? Can I afford to move to a different location, which is going to end up costing more? And they're wanting to make these moves. And most of the time they're considering this because most people don't have their money really buttoned up the way that we teach our clients to. And so they end up justifying the move before they've tracked, before they've created the budget, and they're sort of making the decision on a wish and a whim, because they don't even know how much they have to be able to put into this investment. And so they're sort of, guessing, rather than being able to look at the hard data and go, I have exactly this amount, and I know that I could reallocate money from any of these places. If they don't have that information, we can't guide you.
Right. Yeah. And again, a lot of these women are coming going, oh my gosh, this space just opened up. And if I don't jump on it, then someone else is going to get it. And I don't know when it's going to open up again. I don't know when it'll be available. Okay, amazing. We can make a quick decision. Let's look at our numbers first and make sure that this is something, A, that you can afford right now with zero stress. And how many more clients or how many more customers are you going to need to cover that? Have you been able to, like, do you have a track record of having that many clients every month? Or is this something that you're going to have to work harder for? These are all questions that you have to have answered before you make that decision, because it's really fun to move. And if you're an entrepreneur, a lot of times you're also ADHD. We will not go down that rabbit hole. But like Marley has to stop me all the time. I'm like, ooh, you know what would be fun? And she's like, no, ma'am. That's not what we're doing right now, because new feels fun. And if it's fun, then you're going to throw yourself into it until it gets hard, until you can't afford it, until you have a lot less clients than you need to be able to afford that space. And that's what we want you to avoid. Make those decisions based on the numbers and then filter it through. Does this even feel good? Like, if I'm in that space, like, am I going to feel better? Are my clients going to feel better? Is it even going to make a difference? I want you.
I got stressed about the payment that I didn't plan to afford. I just said I would make it work.
Which means that I'm not going to be present with my clients or my customers because I'm going to be worried about, are they going to upsell? Are they going to buy more makeup? Are they going to do this? So you're going to be in that position again of desperate for money, and nobody needs to be there anymore. Like in 2023, 2024, we are not desperate for money. Period.
We are in control of our money. I want to bring it home with a thought that I would guess a lot of our listeners have not like fully grasped. So inside of Mind Her Business, we teach our clients. We don't just teach business and we don't just teach personal. We teach our clients to know their numbers and take total control of their numbers in both. So we have business tracking, business budgeting, business analysis, and we have personal tracking, personal budgeting, and personal analysis. We cannot help you make decisions in your business. We cannot teach you. We don't really help you make them. We teach you how to make the decisions. Like, we're not giving you advice. We're not giving you financial guidance. We're showing you and empowering you on how to make decisions based on the data in front of you. And we're teaching you what questions to ask yourself. We cannot give you guidance in your business. If you want to make an investment, I can't help you unless I know your personal numbers, because first and foremost, we want to take care of you. We want to take care of your business. We want you to be taking care of you. And if you are not paying yourself first, if you are not covering what your family needs from the business and treating your business like a totally separate entity, like we talked about in a few episodes ago, where we talked about not treating your business like an ATM, we want to know exactly what is your business bringing in revenue? What is it bringing in profit? We want to know, what does your family need to bring in? And in order to cover all of your family's expenses and family goals like savings, retirement, and all of those things, so that we can decide, what does your business, what can it afford to pay you? And does that cover the lifestyle that you want? So if we're looking at making a business investment, is that going to cut into your personal financial goals? Is it going to be taking away from your family? Or can we find a balance to make both work? Because you are a business owner and you have a family. And so money management, when you own your own business, involves you taking care of both equally and considering both on level playing field.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap it up. But if you have not watched the masterclass, go to Instagram, Mind Her Business Official, click on the link in the bio and watch the masterclass to see what is possible for you, for your family, and for your business.